Hey, and welcome to Board with Life News for March 23rd. Today I'm going to talk about Pandemic Legacy winning a bunch of awards, a trio of Godfather games, Crazy Carts, Bloodborne, Wasteland Express, and the Kickstarter for Yakitori. Let's get to it. Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to Board with Life News. Up first, Pandemic Legacy has won Game of the Year, both from Board Game Geek with the Golden Geek Award, as well as the South by Southwest Gaming Awards. This isn't really a surprise. It's been kind of cleaning up at all of the Game of the Year awards, and I expect that it will continue to do that. It's very well deserved. It is certainly one of the most innovative games to come out in the past couple years, but not just innovative, it's kind of game-changing, no pun intended, in terms of like how I think narrative will be incorporated in games moving forward, things like that. And it's also just an incredibly good execution of kind of an idea when you heard like Pandemic was going to be a legacy game. It is that, but it's also so much more. So congratulations to Rob Daviau and Matt Leacock and Pandemic Legacy and that whole team. The Godfather is getting not one, not two, but 3 games coming out in 2016, which frankly seems excessive. First up is The Godfather is going to come out from Cool Mini or Not. This is designed by Eric Lang, and it's a worker placement game. It's going to be a big box game that he described as thugs on a board type game. You're going to be able to do like drive-by shootings and throw people in the river, stuff like that. You know, all the good family fun that you want out of board games. The second one is The Godfather, An Offer You Can't Refuse. This is coming out from IDW, and it's basically a Mafia retheme, which this one makes a lot of sense for a Godfather game, because it's Mafia and duh. The third is The Godfather, A New Dawn. This is going to be an area control game. So, yeah, you're going to have a bunch of Godfather games to pick from. I imagine that The Godfather by Cool Mini or Not is going to be kind of the biggest seller of those, just because it's Cool Mini or Not and Eric Lang. But I don't know. Seems like somebody should have gotten an exclusive license for this thing instead of making 3 games that came out the same year. Portal Games announced Crazy Carts. This is a team game where you're going to be on 2-player teams, and in the game, players are going to simultaneously select actions without communicating with the other player on your team. So maybe you're going to want to make your cart go fast, but they break, or they're going to shoot, whatever. So I'm sure it's going to be sort of a Robo-Rally-esque, like, screaming type stuff. It's going to come with 4 factions, as well as a lone wolf faction, in case you have an odd number of players, and it's going to play between 3 and 8 players. I'm pretty excited about it, because I like 8-player games that play quickly and are also kind of board gamey and not just party games. So I'm pretty excited if it plays 8 players well. We got word that Bloodborne, the video game, is going to have a board game adaptation. This was obviously an incredibly popular video game from last year that has you running around killing monsters and taking their blood. I don't know, I didn't play it. For some reason, you need their blood. It's going to be produced by Cool Mini or Not and designed by Eric Lang as well. And basically, it's going to be based on the Chalice dungeon runs, which again, I didn't play the game. I don't know what that is, but it seems like you're going to be killing monsters, taking their blood, and trying not to die. Eric Lang designed XCOM. He was one of the designers of XCOM from Fantasy Flight that came out a couple years ago that was an adaptation of a video game. So, yeah, I could see this having some crossover appeal. I don't really know how much video game people are crossing over with these like BioShock Infinite or XCOM or these board game adaptations. Clearly, people think they are, otherwise they wouldn't be paying for the IPs, but yeah, it's kind of yet to be seen. I generally hear board gamers that are also into video games very excited about it, but I don't hear a lot on video games. But at the same time, I got this news off of Polygon, which is a video game website, so clearly they're at least aware of it. More news from IDW. Wasteland Express Delivery Service is going to be coming out in 2016. This is a post-apocalyptic wasteland. It kind of looks like a Mad Max universe that you're playing within, and in it you're delivering food, water, weapons, that kind of stuff to various places. The artwork is just astoundingly gorgeous. IDW pulled over one of their comic book artists, and it's just bright and crazy and so much going on. They said that they have over 100 unique pieces of art because every single card is going to have a unique piece of art on it. It just looks gorgeous already, so I'm very excited about that. It's also going to have a 10-game campaign and single randomly generated scenarios you can play. So you can either play through a long campaign, or you can just sit down and infinitely combine all these different scenarios to play single games. So this seems like it's already kind of on the narrative bandwagon that games like Pandemic Legacy and Time Stories and all those have kind of started. So we'll see how that turns out, but it looks pretty cool. This week's Kickstarter is for Yakitori. This is a really unique, interesting worker placement game, and you're buying, selling, and cooking yakitori, but you're trying to buy ingredients cheap and then cook them and sell them for more. The entire game is made out of wood with laser cutting, so that's definitely the unique thing about the game. It also has skewers, and as you're cooking food, you move it further on the skewer, stuff like that. So there's some cool physical elements of the game, even though it seems like it's a pretty straightforward worker placement game. So yeah, it's $59 right now on Kickstarter, so if that interests you, you should back it, because this is kind of more the thing I think Kickstarter intended to be making, instead of a bunch of basically finished board games that are gonna just go straight on the shelf anyway. This is a game that definitely probably wouldn't exist without Kickstarter, so go support that kind of stuff. All right, that's the news for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow Board with Life on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter. I'm at Chris Bryan Games. I would love to have you follow me because my ego, it needs it. We just released episode 4 of Board with Life this week. That was the first one that I wrote and directed, so you have to go watch it because you watch this, so you have to go support my other stuff because that's how this stuff works. But I'm really proud of it. People seem to be enjoying it, so that's very exciting. It's Formula D is the board game it's based around. Also, our Adventures in the New World Dungeons and Dragons podcast has started back up. Donald did a recap episode where it was like everything up to this point, which is crazy because it's like 20 or 30 hours of recordings that he condensed down into an hour, and then we just pick right back up where we left off. And it's a pretty good episode this week, so go check that out. Tomorrow, a new episode will come out. This week's question comes from @Jalis322 via Twitter, and they ask, what's been the most difficult scene to shoot this season or last season? They're talking about Board of Life, the web series I do. There weren't any that were like very clearly the most difficult scenes. The one that I settled on was the opening shot in episode 3. There's a one take, I think it's about a minute long, of continuous take shot that we shot with Movi, which is a handheld gimbal thing. And it's kind of the lead up to a house. And we wound up reshooting that. We shot it the first time and we had like technical difficulties on stuff, like our audio equipment was just not working, and there were all these like little problems. And honestly, it was fine. It was like, if it was season 1, we would have just gone with it. It wasn't perfect, but it was like good. But we really wanted it to be perfect. That was also our episode that Rich Summer was in, so we really wanted to kind of put our all into that, because hopefully, people that have big wigs would watch it, and I don't know why you want the people with big wigs to watch things, but you do. And so that way we get rich and famous, and that's the only reason to do anything in life. So we did have to reshoot that. The second time we shot it, it went really smoothly, and it was really good, and I'm very happy with that shot. I like it a lot. And I think that episode worked super well. There was some other stuff that was hard, but generally the harder the stuff is, also the more fun it is, because we really like the technical challenge of doing stuff. So like the car chase was just a lot of fun to shoot. So of course there's difficulty in all that stuff. The stuff that's the hardest is just the boring, we're sitting around a table talking, or stuff like one of us or one of the actors wasn't available that day, so we have to shoot around them, which we actually had to do quite a few times this season, where the shot will be all of us sitting at a table playing a game, but one person won't actually be there, and we'll have to shoot it twice and stitch it together. Technical stuff like that's pretty boring. And that's actually the hard stuff. It doesn't actually have to do with like the technical aspect of shooting stuff, because the harder that is, the more excited we get about doing it, and then the more fun it ultimately winds up being. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in this week, and I will see you next week.